He's known as the first ever true functional athlete, the god of aestheticism, if you will. Some assume that he's just an AI generated representation of what athletic aestheticism is, brought to us by aliens from the future. He's the supplier of nut milk and eggs and everything else known as anabolic. His name is Nick Smith, and he's a real person. Kind of. This is gonna be completely honest, unfiltered, breaking the fourth wall, deep dive analysis on the history of Nick Smith. So I'm gonna start from the beginning. In my close friend group, there's 4 of us. There's me, there's Brendan, there's, funnily enough, another guy named Nick, and then there's also a 4th person. And you guessed it, that's Nick Smith. If you've watched any of my shorts, there may be an occasion or two that I say some really out-of-pocket statement that sounds like I pulled it straight out of a science textbook from wherever Mario Rios graduated. Despite how wacky the gallons of milk, the tons of eggs a day, the functional muscle-ups, the handstand push-ups, all of that, these were all based off of my friend, Nick Smith. I obviously exaggerated just a tiny bit, especially with the nut milk, the raw eggs, the hyperbolic calisthenics training on Jupiter. All of that is kind of exaggerated, but the idea is still there. The idea was originally based off of my friend Nick Smith, and the idea alone is hilarious to me and my friends. So that is where the jokes came from. But that's not the end of our protagonist's story. You see, everything that I just told you about Nick Smith has nothing to do with this guy. Let me explain. You see, this is not the same Nick Smith. I know, it's a huge plot twist, but in my friend group, it's funny to us that someone with the brain straight out of a Looney Tunes Goofy Goober Land cartoon could have a name so generic and look like the most generic run-of-the-mill NPC you'll ever encounter. Like, my friend looks like he can actually prompt ChatGPT to tell you to draw an average Caucasian male and then he will pop up. It might be dumb and creepy looking back on it, but whenever me and my friends were bored, we would just go on Google and just type in our friend's name and see who would come up. And we would just die laughing at hours at anyone that looked remotely similar to him. One day we Googled his name and the city he lives in, and then this guy popped up. Now, this guy is an exact replica of my friend Nick Smith, except he's about 30 years older and about 30 pounds more jacked. So we crowned this man as the king of Nick Smiths. These events went down about 3 or 4 years ago, and ever since I started the channel in September of 2022, I've always wanted to make Nick Smith a big inside joke that everyone could get in on. So I've been including him since my first video. That's now private because it was way too cringy. But nonetheless, he was still there from day one. This is what my friend Nick Smith looks like, and the funniest part of this joke is that he doesn't watch any of my videos or fitness for that matter. So he has no idea that he's actually the mascot of aestheticism, or that he's the supplier of nut milk, or that so many of you guys want to standing hip thrust him during bedroom cardio. So every time you guys make these comments, me, my friends Brendan and other Nick, we just scroll the comment section for hours just dying laughing, because that is just hilarious to us that other people are making these Nick Smith jokes. And if you're asking if I'll ever tell him, eventually I might, but I might actually just tell him and get his live reaction if this video gets like 5,000 likes. But for now, that's the story of the biggest inside joke that everyone knows about.